Hello everyone, welcome back. Christian Shreve, bestboxingbets.com. We're talking about Canelo Alvarez, and we're asking a question not that long before he challenges for the biggest prize in boxing. He's taking on pound-for-pound champion Floyd Mayweather Jr., obviously. Now something interesting has happened with him. Two things. One, he went on this whirlwind tour advertising the promotional event. He was at slightly less than a 3-1 underdog. He comes back, and people were saying that's going to go to 4. It hasn't. If anything, the odds are starting to move the other way. Something about what people saw when they looked at the two standing next to each other gave Alvarez supporters a little more confidence. And those who were on the fence, a few more of them, have begun putting their money behind Alvarez. Let's talk about it for a moment, because what does it mean? Well, what it means is that they believe that this person is walking a path not toward goodness, not being a good fighter, but being a great one. Now, recently, one of my viewers, who I very much appreciate, sent me a message and said that Alvarez's contract has been purchased by one of the richest men in the world. If this is true, then we may have reached a point that we've talked about before. It may be impossible for him to lose a decision. And if this has happened, you put yourself in the position of a judge. You're trying to do your work, you're trying to do the best you can, and someone says, hey, we will pay off your house. You rule this way. Most do. You know, it's a hard temptation. If they have unlimited bank reserves, we could see Alvarez lose every round and win a decision, as pretty close to happen with Chavez Sr. and Whitaker. But let's talk about what Alvarez really brings to the table, because what we're talking about at this level is the path of a man being great or being good. And I'm going to go on record right now and say, when you look at Alvarez, you look at a fighter walking down the path of greatness. Will he get there? I don't know. My crystal ball doesn't receive that kind of Wi-Fi signal. But I'll tell you, he is in a different position than a lot of people suspect. And the reasons for this are clear. When Julio Cesar Chavez Sr. made his presence in the professional game, he was an underdog. In the early 80s, he was expected to lose. The guy that the American media was following was who he beat, Mario Azabache Martinez. And he overwhelmed him in 8 rounds. And people looked at Chavez and said, well, he's young enough at the time. He was considered good-looking enough. He's fierce, you know, let's create this persona, JC Superstar. Let's put this media machine behind him. But he had to beat a lot of people to become undefeatable promotionally. Jose Solomon, the South American boxing don, before he invested in making sure that Chavez couldn't lose a decision to the few who could challenge him, Adrian Areola, Rocky Lockridge, and Pernell Whitaker, before those arrangements were made behind the scenes, Chavez had to beat a lot of people. And when he attacked people, it wasn't in the previous models that you get from most of the Mexican fighters. There's a small minority. There was Miguel Canton and Salvador Sanchez, who are Mexican boxers. Boy, they were fantastic with their motion. And then you had Model 2, which are the brave guys, the little guys who will fight until there's nothing left in them. You have during that period, you had the last of fighters like Bobby Chacon, Bazooka Limon, and Chuchu Castillo. You had these great fighters. Then you had the real Lupi Pintor. Then you had the real power punchers from the Mexican boxing establishment. You had Alfonso Zamora, Pepino Cuevas, Carlos Zarate. You had guys who could get in, and maybe the greatest Mexican puncher of all time, Roca by Ruben Olivares. Out of these, when Chavez came to the world-class stage, it took a little while to classify him, because he was a pressure fighter, but he was smart. and he was savvy, and he was sensitive to motion, and he could back away, and he could be patient, and he could vary up his attack. Then he'd come in again. Folks, this is what we're getting with Canelo. You look at that Mexican pride and culture, you look at that Dutch-style powerful body, and you get someone who does not come in blindly. They don't flit away. They don't stand and take stupid punches. They don't give up. He doesn't give up his form to launch powerful punches. He will pace you out if you're his opponent. He will pace you out. He will set you up with jabs. And he has the type of power, if he lands like he did against Austin Trout, if he lands one or two of those shots, it's not going to be what Mayweather faced with a bulked up Miguel Cotto, where he gets swelled up a little bit. This is someone who is proving in the late rounds of a fight that he can really do what he needs to do. And some people are saying, look, it wasn't as impressive against guys like Shane Mosley and for Canelo as it was for Pacquiao and Mayweather. This has been a kid on a learning curve. Physically, he's the most powerful fighter in the division. He's smart. He's patient. He does what it takes to win. It might be impossible for him to lose a decision. I think that we're looking, promotion aside, I think we're looking at the dawning of a truly great fighter. He has what it takes to do what it takes, and has shown the discipline, the style, the adaptability to become a truly great fighter. Do you agree? Do you agree? Will he be better after facing Mayweather, whether he wins, loses, or loses and gets the decision? Will he be better afterward? He seems to learn from his mistakes. He also seems to get better every time out. I think he might. This is going to be a fascinating career to watch develop. Give me your opinion. Christian Shreve, bestboxingbets.com. I'm Christian Shreve, and I'm here to tell you about why I think you should own my new book, Money Boxing, which is on sale now. Money Boxing has something for everyone, whether or not you know anything about boxing. You're about to receive a backstage pass into a world of glamour, corruption, and intrigue. And you're going to learn about the system, which is the only thing the casinos have had to fear in a long time. You can own Money Boxing by clicking on the link below now. I think you'll like it.